was only one person leaving the light on for football in Los Angeles as a question to be posed to the commissioner, and it was Sam Farmer of the Los Angeles Times, who joins me here on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing great, Rich. I'm kind of laughing because I was talking to Ben Volen at the Boston Globe today. He said, you should, if a team eventually comes to L.A., you should go to that city that it vacated, and then for the next 20 years, say it's St. Louis, you stay in St. Louis and ask the commissioner when we get football back in St. Louis.
Well, before the AEG group tapped out, didn't they have the name of their field Farmers Field? Sam?
Yeah,
right? That's what it's for.
That was heartbreaking for the Farmer family, I'll tell you.
No, I was for you. It wasn't for the insurance company. So is this it for San Diego? Because it sure seems like we have reached the midnight hour, and this is a midnight league in terms of deals getting done, but it sure looks like San Diego the Chargers have both feet out the door right now, Sam. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, the city of San Diego folks were here yesterday talking to the LA committee, and they're rushing out that environmental impact report, and they say they can get a vote by January, but the Chargers say, look, even if you do get something on the ballot, we don't believe the people of the city of San Diego would support spending public money on a stadium. No, nobody else in California has an appetite for that. And even if we were to win a stadium vote there, it probably wouldn't hold up to the legal challenges. And we could be stuck for years in San Diego with this vote we got at the beginning of 2016, but, it sort of withers on the vine. Meanwhile, somebody moves into L.A. and we lose all our leverage to move up there. So the Chargers are really pessimistic about staying in San Diego. Kind of blows me away because I'd hate to lose San Diego off the NFL map. But there's another element here at play, and that's the L.A. committee and their quiet support for Dean Spanos. The owner of the Chargers, I don't think anybody in that room, it's almost a primary concern is to make sure he doesn't get hurt. And so they're going to take care of the Chargers one way or another.
Well, how does that work in with Stan Kroenke of the Rams having a stadium all planned for Hollywood Park, which is about a half an hour up the road without traffic from where the Chargers and the Raiders are trying to place their facility in Carson, closer to the west side of Los Angeles, close to the city itself? What about the Rams project, Sam?
Well, that's sort of the supreme irony of this whole deal is the Rams are seem most determined to leave. They have the wherewithal in Stan Kroenke, one of the richest owners, to do the deal. And they, have the best site. In terms of the largest site, it's a site everybody knows, the Hollywood Park site. They can do everything they want to do and have their NFL Disneyland on that site. And yet it's the city of St. Louis that has done the most to keep its team. So it really puts the league in a quandary here. Do we leave money on the table in St. Louis? Do we allow Stan to leave, even though he's not the most popular guy in the room? Dean has more of the support of the ownership. And yet Stan's a force of nature, so it's, or do we, this could work out in so many ways, as we've talked about for so long. Rich, you and I have talked about it. This is three-dimensional chess. It's not checkers. So you have so many moving pieces, and it seems like now as we get closer to an ultimate solution, it gets even more chaotic. You have three hosts, three current markets, three teams, the idea of the challenge of putting two teams from the same division in the state, it's crazy.
Well, what about this, Sam? Is it possible that Kroenke builds his stadium and the Rams and Chargers share it, and the Raiders are left looking for a seat at the table, figuring out their situation? Is that a feasibility?
That's certainly possible. I mean, in my mind, if it's a two-team solution, that's the one that makes the most sense, because you have now the question is, does Stan want to split the baby and have it be a 50-50 Jets-Giants situation? Or does he want it like the old Jets-Giants arrangement where the Jets were the second tenant to the Giants? I know Dean doesn't want that, but Stan Kroenke has stuck his neck out here. He's acquired the land. He's taken the risk, which nobody had done up until he did that. When he did that, it set everything in motion and created all these scenarios where multiple teams would be moving. But he's really the one who took the first overt step toward the L.A. market, and I think he wants to be rewarded for that.
Sam Farmer of LA Times joining me here right now. You know, everybody tries to read in between the lines of any statement the NFL makes on this. And the one thing that leapt out at me after the annual meeting in March, where all the owners met, and the regular 100% everybody attends meeting, soup to nuts organizational, was the commissioner coming out and saying that they've left a spot in the Super Bowl rotation a couple of years from now for a possible LA Super Bowl should a stadium be built. And the only facility that could meet that timeline that the NFL threw out there is the Kroenke one. Is that a de facto move of support for the NFL towards that project without saying so, Sam?
Well, yeah, that's astute. Yeah, that would be the only one that could do that. I would put a lot of stock in that, except that the NFL has tossed out those markers before, and we've and sort of just blown through them, and they kind of fall by the wayside. I wouldn't say that was the definitive evidence that the league has purely cast its lot behind the Kroenke site, because there are issues there too, and that doesn't really do anything for the Raiders or Chargers in terms of solving their issues. So I truly believe that although the league quietly, I don't think they've absolutely zeroed in on one site or the other, and it's very complicated. Which kind of leads me to believe, boy, if there's going to be some pain between now and December, and it's going to be a very difficult process. And it wouldn't shock me if they push the pause button on this.
Yeah, wow.
One thing at the meetings, I got to say, that stuck out to me, one of the most powerful owners, Robert Kraft, said, what St. Louis is doing, they deserve an NFL team. And it was notable to me that he did not say they deserve the Rams. He said they deserve an NFL team. And I think there's a real distinction there, that you're leaving the door open to, do you backfill that market with another team?
Who would that be?
I think the Raiders. It would be the Raiders if they would backfill with the team. They're not going to expand. Now, it just leaves that door ajar. I don't think it's the answer. I don't think that's definitively the way the league's going. But I just thought it was more noteworthy that he didn't specify the Rams. They deserve the Rams, and foreclose on the option to stand moving. So I truly believe this is still a work in progress and still very much in flux, fluid situation.
And you think there's last question for you as we talk the timeline of it. You think the league would hit the pause button on this with all that's happening and just say, let's table this another year? I mean, what would be different?
Very difficult to do that, especially when you think about the opportunities now. You've got lightning in a bottle.
Isn't this it's go or no-go right now, isn't it, Sam? Right now?
The real problems with that right now would be the carrying costs, keeping the deals alive in Carson, keeping the deal alive in Inglewood. The death knell of every deal in L.A. has been a pause, and those have died off. But, as I said, there's going to be a lot of pain and a lot of twists and turns between here and December. And, you know, some of these owners might not have the stomach for picking one over another right now.
Sam, thanks for calling in. We'll chat. Have you in studio. We'll chat next time that way,
awesome,
okay?
Rich. Thanks, man.
That's at LA Times Farmer on Twitter.